So I put out a tweet in 2019 going, med Twitter, that's what it was in those days. I am seeing a lot of Asian women as a doctor, and I think that we're misdiagnosing the menopausal symptoms and giving them antidepressants when I think this might be menopause. Anyway, this got taken up by a lot of doctors as well who also see South Asian women and said, oh my goodness, this is literally what I deal with in my surgery. That got picked up by the BBC, just completely serendipity. Louise Minchin, who is one of the presenters on BBC Breakfast, was doing a whole week-long discussion called Wake Up to the Menopause on BBC Breakfast. So I got invited along to talk about that. And I did my 5 minutes just around 8:30. I managed to shoehorn in vulvas and vagina, the word. I'm sure people choked on their cornflakes. And I got off the sofa, and the BBC producer said, you're quite good at relaying complex medical information into bite-sized bits. Do you want to do this a bit more? And I said, no, never again. I don't want to do TV. It's not something I want to do. Fast forward 2020, the pandemic's hit. And BBC Breakfast came round again and said, we're looking for some doctors to talk about what's happening in general practice. Would you be so kind as to be one of the doctors? It'll be at 6:30 in the morning. Well, at the time I had, I was on maternity leave, and I thought, well, do you know what? I've got a baby at home. I'm up at 6:30 anyway, and I can hop on a Zoom call from my kitchen. And I ended up being the same doctor for 2 years on a Monday morning from my kitchen, talking about everything that we're doing as GPs, from PPE, the lack of it, the difficulty that patients are having. And it was only in the April lockdown. So we started that in January, February time. And then in the first lockdown, everyone was logged on to TikTok. So I actually started on the other channel, TikTok. And my sister and I were sort of looking at all these TikToks. It was fun. There were dance TikToks. There were sort of quick transitions. And I said to my sister, I think I'm going to start making small videos, because at the time I was consulting from home remotely, and I was having the same conversations via a telecommunication or telephone with my patients. And I thought, why don't I just make these into bite-sized information videos which women could just access while they're at home because they're not being able to get through to the doctor. And that's honestly literally how it started. So it was my camera on my phone, put it on a desk, and I just talked about stuff that I do every day in 2 minutes. So and it was a challenge because my sister was like, no one's going to watch videos on vaginal dryness. And I went, aha, that's it. I think women will. And I'm going to make them in different languages. And that was really how my journey started.